Someone asks, is there a correlation between games and problem solving? Uh, yeah, there is. Um, I don't know why they're asking. I wish I knew more context, but they're, yeah, there's a lot of research, like 20, 30 years ago where they showed that IQ tests and I mean, they were studying a particular game. This is the space shooter game. If it was like I don't know if you know Asteroids from the '70s or '80s or whenever that game came out. There was just a little more like complicated version of it, and they were studying the correlation with IQ, like your performance on IQ tests, and your ability to perform on the game actually, especially your more specific your eventual ability. So like eventually the level you hit after a few days when um, correlated with IQ. There's a bunch of stuff like that, um, and IQ is supposed to be a metric of problem solving. So in fact, your score on this particular game they were studying correlated more strongly with IQ than, say, if they try to use your age, um, your general experience with video games to try to predict your score on the test. So if they only had your demographic information, like oh maybe you're an old person who doesn't play much games or a young person who plays a lot of games, and then you try to use that to predict how well you're going to do on this versus IQ. Like IQ is actually more predictive. So everybody can get very blustery about themselves if they do well at any sort of game. But yeah, there's definitely. I mean, there's probably going to be like video game assessments in the future because they're complex and dynamic as opposed to paper and pencil tests or tests that are just been digitized, but they're basically still